Okay. All right. So here we are. What I'm doing is not every meeting is going to be a Zoom meeting or out of the office, but I feel like on a lot of these I end up getting maximum participation when we do Zoom meetings. It seems like it's more convenient to everybody. You can be in your comfortable space, the best place for you to learn and listen. Sometimes in the conference room, it gets crowded. It gets, a little too warm, at least for me anyways. And we have limited space. And the last meeting that we did like this, we had 15 people. And I just can't imagine having 15 people in that conference room. Sometimes it gets to be a little too much. Right now there's 10 of us. And 11 of us. And so this is a good format to use for some of these classes. Like I said, again, I won't be doing this for all of them. Some of them will be in the office or at other locations. Again, good morning, everybody. Now, I want to kind of start off by saying that this might be a basic class for some of you. Some of you, this may not. You guys may know this already, may have heard this 100 times from me already. Uh, but use this as an opportunity to critique me, as well as kind of pick up the information or chime in if you feel like you can contribute. I definitely welcome that. So at any point, if you've got any questions, just let me know. Other than that, try to remember to keep yourselves muted. But again, if you got something to say, chime in. Don't hesitate. The name of this course is, this is going to sound like a long title, but I have a reason for it. I want to kind of keep a library of these classes, and this will help me keep track. Business Growth Series, Marketing Yourself, Session 1, The Basics. So this class is definitely going to be back to the basics, but back to the basics doesn't always mean something that you don't need to learn. Sometimes it's stuff that you need to remember that you already knew and to kind of put into practice. So when you're thinking of your real estate career, in many cases it comes down to your individual successes or failures. When you think of your real estate career, how you kind of judge yourself. What defines this? Well, many things can be seen as what defines a good career in real estate. One thing that stands out to me, I always think of my business in terms of numbers, production, sold volume. This is, of course, a very black and white way to look at it. There's a lot of things that could kind of contribute to what makes you feel like your business is successful or not. Um, I think, of course, you can understand in our business, there's more to this. Obviously, this is a relationship building business. You can never survive without building relationships. And what I want you to focus on here is that and where that starts. So I call this part getting clients one-on-one. You can call it many things, marketing, prospecting, and so on. But ultimately, your goal to be successful in your business is to build as many relationships as you can. And in my way of looking at my real estate career, that can translate into sold volume or production. Um, Let's see. So marketing, prospecting, that all really kind of means the same thing. It's a method we use to gain new clients so that we can build new relationships. So how in the world do we do this? Now, for some of you seasoned real estate agents, excuse me, this is too easy. You know all too well what it takes, the hours of task or buckets of cash, one of the two, right? Task to get done to get you in front of clients or spending a lot of money so that you can create impressions all over the community that you work in or the internet, social media, buying Zillow leads or paying for listings or open houses to be boosted on Facebook or spending, 2 or 3 hours or, 4 hours in the morning or in the evening doing your prospecting and emailing past leads and clients. Um, so I don't want anybody to ever think that I'm going to sit here and kind of show you some kind of magical way to grow your business to unbelievable heights without spending any money or doing any work. That's impossible. It really isn't feasible. And one of the things that this kind of lends itself to is one of the classes I'm going to talk to you guys about down the road. Someone said to me, hey, I want to come work with you, but I really only have about 10 hours a week to do real estate because I have another job. And I said, all right, that's fine. I mean, it's your business, however you want to run it, however you want to make this work and whatever you want to put into it. Just remember that, what you put in is what you get out. What are some of your goals this year in real estate? And this agent said, I want to make $100,000 in real estate. And I thought, well, with the amount of time that you're able to invest in it, 10 hours a week, as you said, I don't know that you're going to make $100,000. That may not translate. And so think about your business in that respect is if you treat it like a job every single day and you go to work and you do those things, that's kind of what you're going to get out of it. So time is a big deal. Um, and again, if you're not willing to put the work in, sometimes those goals that you set for yourself, they're really not feasible. So the first thing I want to talk about is how to grow a business on a budget. I think especially the way the market's been lately, this is a big deal. So this isn't the easiest and the quickest way to grow your business, but it will make a difference in the long game. And regardless of how you want to approach a real estate business, I think having a system of things that you do that require time and sweat effort are always going to lend itself to your long game in your real estate career over the sometimes unsustainable monthly fees that you pay to a company to generate leads for you. Though I hope that makes sense. Sometimes you get to where it's like, well, maybe you have a $2,000 Zillow budget or a $1,500 Zillow budget, but then you go and to kind of couple your business with that, you go and you do something that's a little bit free, but eats up some of your time, like door knocking. Here, I'm going to advance this slide. These slides are so good looking. I didn't make them. I want to get to the point to where when we're having these sessions that I can call on some of the attendees and ask you guys to give us an example of a situation that you've had in your business or something that you think helps you be a little more effective. Okay. So one of the things, and keep in mind, these are just my suggestions. They're not must-haves or things that you have to do. They're just suggestions, things that have worked for us in the past or things that I've seen work for certain agents. Sometimes it definitely has to lend itself to your personality. And so one of the things that I know a couple of agents actually do is door knocking, not just door knocking for no reason. Come prepared to do battle, or I mean, have a friendly conversation. And how many of you cannot stand it when someone knocks on your front door? The reason is because they're trying to sell you something typically, and it becomes inconvenient. You don't want to hear their game. You already don't want them to mow your lawn or put in solar panels for you. You're good with that, and you get those kind of door knocks all the time. What I'm talking about is a door knocking on someone's front door because you sold their neighbor's house or one of your associates sold a neighbor's house, and you have some information to give them, almost like the old day town squire. You go and you knock on the door, you ring the doorbell, and you say, "Hey, look, I'm not here to sell you anything. I just wanted to give you information." I've said this to agents all the time. Consumers are starved for information. They want to know whether you call it nosy or just curious. People want to know what their neighbor's house sold for. They want to know all the information. So go into a neighborhood, have all of that information, and be willing to share it with them. And so when you go and you pick a street to door knock, knock on the door and just say, hey, you obviously you want to be dressed a certain way. You want to look like a real estate agent. If you have a name tag, wear a name tag. If you have your business card, have that ready. But have a one-page flyer made up with information about that home that sold. You knock on that door and just say, hey, I'm not trying to sell you anything. You know, my name is Rick Ott, and I just wanted to kind of give you a little information about that property right over there that we sold. I didn't know if you had any questions about how it sold, seller's concessions, what price it sold at, how long it sat on the market. In many cases, that is a showstopper right there. Instead of them saying, get off my front porch, their mentality towards you changes, and they're thinking, oh wow, oh yeah, you're delivering information to me. You know, we're in the information age, everybody wants it. That's one of the reasons why Zillow is such a big deal. Is Zillow is not really a real estate platform at its foundation. I mean, that's what it is on the surface. That's what people go there for, but they go there for real estate information. And so information is such a big deal. When you're talking to people, just let them know, hey, you know, so and so sold this property. I want to give you this information. Here's a handout that I made for you that you could take a look at. What you've done by doing that is you've now met someone and you can potentially start to develop a relationship with them. And you go back to your database, your CRM, and you plug their information in. It doesn't have to have anything else but, you know, guy that answered door at 123 Sesame Street. And then you could start building a relationship off of that. And now, in a short matter of time, you have what? You have a new contact, a new relationship, a new lead, somebody that's also new to your sphere of influence. And again, I understand not everybody's going to do this, but this is just an idea. So that's door knocking. Now, something that kind of lends itself to this that we learned is there's something called 10-10-20. And so if you're going to have an open house, how many of you do open houses and then do open houses the right way? It's hard for us to kind of distinguish what that means. Door knocking is a big part of that. You know you have an open house at 123 Sesame Street, knock on 10 doors to the left, 10 doors to the right, 20 across the street, handing them the information on your open house, inviting them to your open house. You potentially will get more people to attend your open house than if you did many other things that might be just as time consuming and cost just as much time or money. And so think about that when you're doing an open house, how important having a door knocking idea in place. And you know, it can be you and another associate so that maybe, you know, you feel safer doing it. Whatever the case may be, develop a system that works for you, but incorporate door knocking definitely into your open houses. It makes a difference. You get these people out. Again, you can get information from them. You never know. You might run into a tenant wanting to buy, somebody that knows that they're going to be PCSing in 6 months and they may want to sell. Now, all of a sudden, you've thrown your hat in the ring and you've become a part of their, you know, interview process, and they've become a part of your sphere of influence. And that becomes so important. So think of that too. Next time you're doing an open house, the 10-10-20, that's 40 houses. That could take you a whole afternoon. So plan for it. Have your information ready to go when you're knocking on the doors, and make sure everybody knows, hey, Sunday I'm doing an open house over here from 12 to 4. I'd like you to come by and take a look at the Smith's home, and you know, give me any feedback if you have it. Anything that you can do to create those contacts to get in front of people to kind of start that process, because as we all understand, one of the biggest obstacles that we have in this business is getting leads or getting clients. And here you are, now you're creating that business for yourself. You're out there getting that referral fee free business by this one simple task. How many of you here have seen me do mail outs? Probably quite a bit, right? We do them all the time. We do them because they're effective. They work, but they're, again, kind of more of your long game, and lending itself back to what this, you know, kind of session is about is prospecting or marketing yourself on a budget. So we do mail outs, we do postcards, we do just sold cards. When business is getting slow, we do mail outs that are, hey, you should try to get pre-qualified, or, renting. Sometimes we talk about how renting isn't the most financially sensible way to, maintain a household. We talk about that. We'll use quick terms though, like, paying rent is like throwing cash in the trash, or something to that effect. But mostly we do just sold mail outs. What does that do for us? Over time, the cost to do a mail out that way is so affordable. The hardest part about it is the time to handwrite the postcards. And so do this intentionally. If you're going to go and develop a mail out platform or a program for your business, think of it as just one piece of what you're doing to meet people, to kind of grow your sphere of influence, and to grow your business. Mail outs can be, maybe you get 100 postcards for, I don't know, not even $50. And then you go to the post office and you get 100 postcard stamps. Those are more affordable than your, class A letter stamps. We do it. We go to Vistaprint. We'll order 100 cards. I can't remember what the cost is, but I can find out. It's not very expensive. We might be able to do, 50 or 100 postcards. And like I said, sometimes it might be like $40 or something to that effect. Sit down, get a blue pen, create an address list. Remember, I said to do this and be intentional about this. Create an address list. Sometimes what we do is we'll sell a home and we'll pick 100 addresses around that home. Other times we'll refer back to a different list. I used to have a list that had 500 addresses on it, and I would constantly update this address list, whether it be people that ended up hiring me, they might fall off the list because, I sold their home, or if I saw that a property sold. But either way, I would have a list. And instead of shotgun blasting these mail outs, that becomes very ineffective because you're scattering your information all over the place. But if you imagine, if you keep hitting the same 100 addresses every time you sell a house, what are you doing? You're creating impressions with these people. They see your name over and over again. And then they may choose to do business with you because they keep seeing you, they keep seeing your name. Now they understand who you are, they recognize your image, and they understand what your career field is. Okay, this person, Rick Ott, he sells real estate. Now I understand that because I always see his face on these mail outs that he sends to me. And that is a very affordable way to do business. And here's something else. You can do that when you represent the buyer. You can send out just sold cards, and you can do it when you represent the seller. You send out just sold cards. Sometimes I'll have people ask me, can I do mail outs on your home that you sold? Honestly, yeah. Yeah. Just try not to hit the same address that I hit. But yeah, absolutely. Why not? Create your list of properties. When I first did this, what I did is I went back and looked in the MLS and picked 100 houses that had been bought 5 years ago, and that was the address list I used, because I thought, well, maybe this, even though it's kind of a quick way to create a list of 100 addresses, maybe these 100 addresses are now, they're 5 years in, maybe they're wanting to sell. Let me get out there and make sure they have my information. And I can't tell you how many times I've had somebody walk into the office with one of my postcards saying, hey, I want to talk to this guy, I'd like to sell my house. Or they'll call me. So they are effective for the amount that they cost you. You don't even have to sell one house for an entire year to pay yourself back. I really mean that. And so it becomes a very effective marketing tool, and just one more thing that you kind of add to what you're doing to jumpstart your business or to grow your business. I like to use blue ink because I think it stands out more. Right now, this is something that Lydia does for me. I haven't even thought to ask her lately if we've been using blue ink. But blue ink, if you are going to do these at home for yourself, use blue ink. It stands out a little more. If you want, you can always add a little note onto the postcard, or, hey, drove by your house, beautiful garden, something like that. Just kind of something for you to think about. Again, this is just something else I want you to put into your tool bag as we continue to have these sessions. Over time, I want you to be able to absorb the information, so I don't want to dump a lot on you. I hope that these first two things, like I said, a lot of you already know this stuff. I get it. You've already thought it. I didn't want to start in the middle of what we do for marketing. I kind of wanted to start off real basic, and each time we'll get a little bit better, a little bit more into some things. Some items that we use will cost money, but I really think right now the best way to start is, how do we create an idea of what we can do to improve our business, and do it in a way that is cost effective. Um, and again, please keep in mind, there's so much more to learning how to earn clients. This is just what I feel like kind of push everybody off the fence and get everybody out there without feeling overwhelmed. Little doses of knowledge, if you will. Let's see. I love these slides, by the way. I spent hours on this. Nobody's laughing at me.
No, I was getting ready to say something.
You were, yeah.
No,
Thank you, Spencer.
absolutely.
All right, guys, that is all I have for you right now. I do want to kind of open the meeting up a little bit to get some feedback from you guys, and just answer any questions you may have. Nothing, everybody's quiet. What do you got, Joanna? Nothing. I'd like to welcome back.
I don't
Oh,
write
go ahead.
I don't write on my postcards. I just use Canva
Hmm.
and just have them do it, because not everybody can always read other people's writing.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I
Yeah,
don't have pretty handwriting like the girls downstairs like that. So
that's one
um
of the main reasons I use them.
yeah. So I mean, you can make it look like handwritten words
Mhm.
on Canva. So but I like the blue ink idea. But yeah.
I will tell you the reason that I started doing them by hand and in blue ink was, I took a marketing class at UT years ago, and one of the things that they brought up was how people view junk mail, essentially mail that comes to their mailbox that is uninvited, or things that they didn't request. And typically, if it looks like it's handwritten, it buys you 2 more seconds of their attention, as opposed to something that looks like it's been printed on a printer, because that's what everybody does, and that's how most of your junk mail comes to you, is stuff that's, printed. And that was the only reason we did it. That doesn't mean that it's right and it's right for everyone, because it would take me a long time sometimes when I would do that, and I have sloppy handwriting, so I would have to write real slow, and kind of my hand would cramp up, but I would still do it, because I thought, hey, this is important, and this is what I want to do. I want to put this information out there, and I want people to call me. And so I want the mail one, I want the mailman to be able to read the address that I put on there. And I don't want the customer to look at it and go, is this guy a doctor or a realtor? Because this handwriting
Mhm.
is so bad. And so I would slow myself down and just take the time writing it. Um, when it comes to doing mail outs, try to incorporate a system that, even after the sale, one of the biggest things where real estate agents mess up is they forget that after closing, it's a good idea to stay in contact with your clients, because they're still your clients. Your people that you've developed these relationships with, you're way ahead. They already chose you to buy the
Mhm.
house. So now take advantage of that. They know who you are. And how many times in my career have I gotten a call on a listing, and I've gone into the MLS and looked it up and said, oh, wow, this person, they listed with this person over here, or they bought from this person over here. And I wonder why they didn't call me, or I wonder why they didn't call that agent back. Instead, they called me. And so a lot of times when I go, curiosity killed the cat. I want to know, hey, I saw that you guys used so-and-so to buy your house. How come you didn't call them? And I know that that could be the kiss of death when you're at a listing appointment, but I wouldn't care. I want to know the information was actually worth the commission to me. What is it as a business standard that I could do better to make sure that this doesn't happen to me? And they would always tell me, "Oh, that was his name. We couldn't even remember who we bought the house from." I would hear
So
that.
I
Yeah.
just had a friend do that to me though. I told you about it. I sold, but and she asked me about the house that I sold her.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, I didn't want to be down her throat, like pressuring her about the house. So
Yeah.
I took a step back because she said she had to talk to her husband. And then I was looking up all my previous sales and stuff, making sure I touched everybody. And then I saw she sold with somebody else. And I'm like, what didn't I do? What did I do wrong? Because I keep up with them. I just talked to her about because she's a big gym person. So I
Yeah.
was like, hey, I would love to work out with you, like trying, personal. And she was talking to me, but I don't know. Now I don't know, like,
Think of it
do
when
I?
it comes to that, Joanna, think of everything. Think of what was the list price if you ever discussed that.
Hmm.
That could be one of the main issues. So you've got list price. The other person could have just simply beat you at the relationship game. You know, that
Maybe.
could be one of the things. It could be sometimes, I hate to say this, we're in a competitive business. What are the chances that they went with that person because it was having to do with money? You don't know what that other agent charged. The way I
Mm.
look at that, don't beat yourself up about it. Try to understand as best
So
you
do you
can.
think it's unprofessional to like call her and be like, hey girl, I saw you saw your place. What's up? What happened?
And she already sold it? No, I don't think it's
Yeah,
professional. No, I think
just to see.
yeah, you're you're information gathering. That helps your
Yeah.
business.
Okay.
Tell her, look, the reason I want to know, it doesn't affect our friendship. Business is business. I still love you.
Mm.
I just want to know if it was something that I could improve on. And if you
Yeah.
still believe in me as an agent, help me. Tell me what it is that I could do better so that I can improve next time. And
Okay.
then jokingly say, and then we're even,
Okay.
and
Okay.
that way they look at that and go, okay, yeah, why wouldn't I want to help Joanna? I
Yeah.
didn't use her in
Yeah.
business, but she's kind of given me this out in a way, like, oh, she said we're still cool as long as I give her feedback. That
Mhm.
information, that data is so important.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's see. I want to pick on an experienced agent just to get some feedback. I'm trying to see who's on here. Oh, there's oops, sorry guys, that's my phone. I never want to make an agent mad at me, but I do want to get some feedback
Pick
from you.
on Caitlin.
And that's what I was going that's what I was going for. Caitlin, tell me a little bit about if you have something that kind of goes with this.
I
Think of
do because I just
bailouts
talked to
or
Joanna.
okay.
Yeah, I just talked to Joanna about this. I had a client who I had a really good relationship with. She came to my baby shower, like great relationship. She sold her house 18 months after I sold it to her. Didn't use me, so I reached out to her as to what the issue was. She bought it sight unseen. And she told me I should have been more open about the culture of the neighborhood. And obviously, that's not something we really touched because of fair housing. So I told Joanna it was nothing I did wrong. She felt like I lacked in that, but there's a law there for a reason. And I
Right.
explained that to her. She still thought I should have disclosed the area to her.
Yeah.
And everybody has a different opinion on good and bad areas. So I would have never been able to salvage that one. So
That's a tough
Joanna
one.
reaching out, it could be something as like, oh, I got a mailer in the mail and we just went with them. Like it could be something really simple.
Yep. Yeah, and that is a tough subject to kind of tap dance around because I've been in that situation. And what does that mean is sometimes it could just be as something as simple as, hey, you didn't tell us there was so many kids in the neighborhood. Every day when school lets out, I've got people walking across my yard. You may not have even known that. Other than that, you're just not going to win them all. But you definitely wanted to ask that question. And I love how direct you were about that, going, hey, tell me what I could have done better.
Mhm.
And now you know. and you probably feel better about it. Now you feel like, oh man, there was nothing I could do about that. I did fine. And
Oh yeah,
that's
I wouldn't have
the
wanted to
business.
touch that conversation with a 10-foot
Yep.
pole. So, and everybody has a different opinion on areas that are good or bad. It was Bunny Trail. I sell in that area all the time. I didn't think it was a bad area at all, but in her opinion, it was.
Yeah.
So everybody's gonna have different opinions. It could have been something so simple that she didn't use Joanna. So,
Oh yeah. Oh
but
yeah.
I asked, I
Absolutely.
just said, hey, for my business in the future, can I know so I can better myself? And she was honest about it.
Yep. I like that. All right, I'm going to pick on another agent, an oldie but goodie. Kathy, if you don't mind, unmute yourself. What do you do in your business to grow your business, to attract clients that is something that you would say is on a budget?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and just so you know, Kelly's here, Julian's here,
Oh,
Christine's
cool.
here. We're all here. You just couldn't, I don't think you can see us. I stay in touch with my buyers, and
How do you
attending.
stay in touch with your buyers?
Well, most of my buyers have been referred. The other ones, I email them or I'll just text them, especially for the main holidays and just randomly, to see how they're doing. I've
Okay.
had maybe one or two that sold over the last 6 years. But for the most part, most of my people don't want to move,
Yeah.
and a lot is the baseball team. I'm
There you go.
always kids at
So
the event,
you're networking in your sphere of influence.
pretty much.
I like that. I like that. It's always a good thing to add that into your mail outs too when you're doing mail outs. One of the things I had briefly touched on is when you're doing mail outs for your clients that you've already closed on, we do 30-day congratulation letters. Then we do a 6-month letter that's, hey, you've been in your home 6 months. These are some of the things that you're probably starting to figure out about your home. We give them a little bit of information, a little bit of data. Um, Again, we're plugging our business constantly when we do this. We're putting our information out to share with them. They get a 12-month letter, and then every year they get a letter from me on their anniversary. And a lot of times we'll pick about 500 people to send a Christmas card to, especially if we sold them a house that year. We're going to want to get them information about how to file their tax exemption. And so we do things like that that are constantly informative, while also reminding them of who we are. And I think that that's just a great way to grow your business, is to always stay in contact with people. I used to have this thing that ran for 6 years, and it was a system of every year they got some kind of big postcard from us. We also would send letters, and people would tell me, man, you guys always stay in contact with us. I've never had a realtor do that before. And I used to think it was worth the $50 a year I was probably spending, maybe $100 on the high side every year that I was spending to stay in contact with you. Mr. Cooper, I would hope that this doesn't offend you, but I consider you a pretty new agent, or a newer agent. I believe you've been licensed roughly around 2 years. What do you think of all this? How do you feel you're going to be able to use some of this stuff to grow your business, or what would you do?
So yeah, no, I don't take offense of that at all. No, so no, I got a lot to learn. Mail outs is something that I have, I guess, neglected. Haven't really gave that a shot. Any video that I've ever seen, or most videos that I see, because I do watch, real estate videos and stuff, and they always talk about mail outs and how effective they are and cost efficient, right? It doesn't really take much to do. Here of recent, talking about sphere of influence, I think what's starting to drive, because I've taken a mental shift here recently. I was kind of in a comfort zone, and now I'm like, okay, now I need to kick in a gear. And I think events for me work out. Like I do a lot of I know a lot of people like in land passes and
I
stuff.
love
So
that.
like a birthday or or something along that lines. You know, I attend those things, and I'm trying to be more uh, basically trying to implement real estate conversations. And so doing that, I've already picked up. I have 3 buyers right now that I will close. They're not under contract, but I will close them, and they're all my sphere of influence because of interactions like that. And then I'm going to have 3 listings here, and out of 3 of them, 2 of them are my sphere of influence. So I feel like now that I'm starting to see that come around, because it wasn't like that before, which they say I think it's like a 2-year mark or
It is.
greater start to see it. Now that I'm starting to see that, it's like, okay, maybe I need to focus really hard in that area, and just letting people know, because I think people have an understanding that I am a real estate agent, but it's like I need to be market myself a little bit more, showing, hey, I am seasoned, you know, to a degree. I'm not brand new. I have done transactions, because believe it or not, one of my good friends, he hesitated to use me. And I think he hesitated to, he's a good friend of mine. He hesitated to use me because he thinks 2 years, he thinks I'm new, right? He doesn't understand. But I went to explain him that, you know, I was on a team, and on the team, you know, as a buyer's agent, you know, I feel like I did more transactions than an independent agent does in their first year, because I was given business, you know, and stuff, and able to drive it. So, but anyways, he realized my professionalism and how I talk and spoke about real estate, and then a whole gear switch. But I did see, just real quick, I know I'm ranting. I did see someone that bought a house recent that I knew, not like not like a really good friend or anything, but someone new. And I like immediately looked at my wife, and I was like, dang it. That should have been me. And I never have thought like that before, but now my mind is starting to switch.
Good, good, good.
It's
You
all
know, I never want to tell somebody to take it personal when they don't get business, even though sometimes that is exactly how I feel about it when I look in the MLS and see that somebody maybe I know, or somebody that was a client of mine in the past did business with somebody else. It took a higher level of maturity for me to say, well, either I can look at it one of two ways. I can either be offended by their action, or I could learn from my inaction. And I think it's easier for me to learn from my inaction and say, you know, maybe I didn't do enough. And then it also simply could be that that person had a better relationship with them. We're in the relationship business, and, you know, that's just how it is. I'll tell you something. I've had agents tell me before, hey, I got this client. Jessica Trad just was dealing with this. She let me know she had a client that she was working, that like her best friend is a real estate agent. And I said, that could go one of two ways. You don't want to let that go necessarily, because what could happen with that is figure it out, talk to them. Maybe they don't want to do business with their best friend. And that's what Jessica told me, is that they said they didn't want to do business with their best friend because they didn't want their best friend to know their business. Why do you not want someone to know your business? You have to get pre-qualified. People get embarrassed about their finances, you know? And so then it's just easier to face a stranger than it is to face your friend. Now, how many times have you seen where someone has bought or sold from someone and not used their friends or family? There's always going to be something that goes with that. But at the end of the day, it could just simply be their preference. You know, they don't want their next door neighbor to know their business, so they're not going to call you to list their house. It could be a lot of that stuff. And the best way to get around that is continue to build the relationships and make sure that people feel really comfortable with you and understand who you are as a person and why you're there, and how you can help make their lives better, and how you're going to help this expensive transition for them. Um, let's see. Does anybody else have anything input wise? Jessica, you've been around the
Yeah,
block a long time. Do you have any
forever.
input? Yeah.
Yeah, the biggest thing I was gonna say is expireds and withdrawals.
There you go.
Look on MLS every day. I used to call them back in the day. We used to have the seller's telephone number, so it'd be easier to just call them every day. But yeah, just go and every day look at expireds and withdrawals. A lot of times they don't even know that their house is expired or has been withdrawn. So go
That's a
knock on
trip.
their door And if they don't answer, leave a note, say, hey, I just noticed that your, house is expired or withdrawn. And, I would love to be able to help you sell your house, and
Yeah.
leave your card info. And yeah, that was our biggest thing, is we'd call expireds. We used to cold call people. We used to just get the white pages out, just start calling people. And believe it or not, I was shocked how many people would tell me, you know what, we were just thinking about, selling our house. And so, I mean, and then of course you're going to get the ones that hang up on you or tell you, they're on the do not call list, and just apologize, say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't, see you on the list, and
Yeah, you're
hang
going to
up.
get those objections. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I mean, I used to cold call people. We also there's a guy in Killeen. I don't know if I still have his number, but he used to walk flyers for me. I never did the door knocking thing.
Yeah.
I used to pay a guy to walk flyers for me, and he only charged like 10 cents a flyer or something like that. But I used them when I worked for DR Horton as well. I had him go put a bunch of flyers on people's houses in the neighborhood I was in, and so,
It's
but yeah,
probably a
you can make
dollar a
your own
flyer
flyers.
now.
Yeah,
After the pandemic,
exactly.
we've had inflation. So
Yeah, exactly. That's why I said this was like, 20 years ago, but
yeah, that's these
but
those are
yeah, there's tons
those are
of things
methods.
to, oh
Yep.
yeah. And I mean,
Yeah.
calling people's free,
Yep.
go knocking on people's doors free. So
Yep.
Facebook Marketplace is free. I get tons of, calls that way. So,
Yeah.
and you could just, make something up, put it on Facebook Marketplace, blast it out, I've joined, I don't even like hundreds of groups, and I just blast stuff on there. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can do for free
I feel
nowadays.
like I'm going to talk about this social media stuff in a later class. I will give you my kind of a shrunken down opinion on social media. I hate it. But I understand it. I dislike a lot of what I see on social media, but I understand how it helps our business. And I have to
Yeah.
force myself to post on there. A lot of times you'll see me post a lot all at once. When you see that, think someone must have just told Rick he's not posting enough on social media. And so I'll get in there and I'll shoot my shot. I'll post 5 or 6 times, and then you won't see me post for two more months. Um, but I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna teach a class on social media, or social media is going to be connected to the class. So I'm not going to say too much, but there's a lot to be said about it, both good and bad. So,
Yeah. Well, and
um,
postcards,
yep,
I mean, they do, cost a little, but I
they
mean,
work,
we got a lot of business from postcards. So,
right?
and especially if there's like a certain neighborhood, that you want to farm. I had another realtor from another company call me and asking me, my opinion and stuff. And because he was wanting to get into some higher dollar, listings. And so I said, just pick a neighborhood, that you really like, and just send them a postcard every month,
That's
or
right.
do it twice a week, or every 2 weeks. Or
Yep,
I said, but you have to do it consistently, every month. So,
yep.
for at least a year or two, you might get one, listing out of it, but
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
it's got
That's
to be
something else
consistent.
too. Consistency is a big deal in any business. So,
Yeah.
okay. Hey guys, what I want to do, my aim for these meetings, whether they're in person or via Zoom, is to try my best to keep them between 30 minutes and 45 minutes. So far, I've not had anyone come to me and express disappointment in these not being 60 minutes. And so if you're dissatisfied with the amount of time, let me know. I feel like it's always a better idea to keep it shorter and do it this way. This way perhaps you can multitask. Uh, do two things at once. And I'm looking at one agent in particular. But this is a good thing. I'll try my best to keep the classes down to 45 minutes, and um that's it. Does anybody have any questions or anything?
Nope.
I hope you feel like you got something out of this, and we will keep expanding on this stuff. The point of what I teach is never going to be, I'm not going to teach contracts. If we need to have contract classes, I'll bring somebody in to do that. If we need to have law classes, some of the stuff, you know, Trek rules and stuff I'll brush up on, I can teach those. But the majority of the information that I want to put out to you guys is business related, how to grow your business, because I feel like in some respects at the brokerage level in this space, there's a lack of that. I know a lot of my peers really stress the rules and the contracts, and I'll see them post about teaching another contracts class. And my personal feeling about that is the state of Texas gave you a real estate license, so you had to pass a real estate exam. Though I know we all aren't perfect at contracts, I'm hoping that you at least have a basic knowledge of that, and we can work on that skill set. But this is the thing that's going to keep us in business, is learning how to market ourselves and business growth. So again, I thank you guys for coming. If anybody else has any comments, let me know. Other than that, thank you so much for attending, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.